Welcome back to another video from the Debate Room podcast. It's another video with just me and Q. We're gonna do one takeaway from every NBA team's first two games. Basically, every team, I think it's 22 teams have played two games. Other teams have only played one, but we're still gonna do a takeaway from them for what we've seen in their one game. We're gonna go in alphabetical order. We're gonna just go ahead and get this started with the Atlanta Hawks. Not gonna waste any time. Atlanta Hawks, I believe, are 1-1, I think.
Not 2-0.
2-0. They beat the I know they beat the Hornets last night, and they also beat the Nets. So they're 2-0. They're looking pretty good. My takeaway from the Atlanta Hawks is that Dyson Daniels might be a positive of that DeJounte Murray trade. He's been really, really good so far. If he's able to even become a respectable shooter and an above average shooter, it's going to be a really good fit next to Trae Young. He's one of the best guard defenders in all of basketball. He's already a pretty good connective passer. He's been that since he was drafted. So that helps as well. Take some playmaking duties off of Trae Young. But he's an elite guard defender. If he's able to become a Jalen Suggs type of shooter where defenses have to respect him a little bit, at least in the regular season, it's going to be really good for their lineup and their team. That's my takeaway from the first two games from the Atlanta Hawks.
Same thing with the Dyson Daniels point. As long as if he's able to consistently hit that three ball, obviously he's going to defend at a pretty decent level. He's going to work wonders for the Atlanta team that still needs help on the defensive end. Another takeaway is they got to try to make a move on, Clint Capella fast because through two games, double O, he's just outplaying them like straight up. So they got to figure that out and get rid of him and allow Okongwu to get real actual minutes and get real play time.
All right, that's the Atlanta Hawks. The Boston Celtics been dominant in their first two games. Not really much to say for them. My takeaway is, barring injury, they look like the clear favorites to compete. They look like the clear favorites to repeat this year. I don't think any team is really going to be able to stop them. Honestly, it's been conversations about how their play style is affecting the league, and there going to be new rules on teams shooting 3-pointers. I'm not going that far. That's crazy. Just how about you guys stop it? And also, it's not like every team in the league plays like that. People would think that's just not true. But Boston is the clear favorite, man. They're just too good. 5 top 50 players, basically. Joe Mazzulla is becoming a great head coach, if he's not a great head coach already. Tatum looks like he wants to get revenge for all the stuff that happened in the Olympics. He's been playing at an MVP level to start the year. They look unstoppable, bro. I don't think any team has the combination of size and perimeter defense to stop them. Their weaknesses is probably going to be size because KP is out right now, and also when he's not like he's 7'3", but he can be. I'm basically like a Lakers with LeBron, Jokic. They can they can
bigger centers.
Yeah, bigger centers can still work against them. So that's their only real weaknesses, but it's not a hot take to say that they probably going to repeat this year. Early on in the season, they look amazing.
Yeah, you could say that's their only weakness. But how many teams have a Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic? There's 3 of them in the league, just about, and that's it. Like so, and one of those teams, like you have to face the other two. It's kind of up and down whether they're gonna make it that far anyway. So I wouldn't get caught up on that. To the whole shooting and how they play. Like you said, not everybody plays like that. 2, not everybody can play like that, or they try, but they fail. They're just not that good. So it's not a play style thing. It's a talent thing. It's an acquisition of talent like they just don't have and development. But same thing as you, this blame Steve Kerr basically for what's about to happen. Even though I didn't have no gripes with him, saying the team USA, he just wasn't playing good, and I wasn't a fan of just throwing him out there because his name is Jason Tatum. I think that does worse than actually do any good because you're giving him garbage time minutes just to save face, but that makes it, look worse on a player that you only get garbage time minutes. But yeah, they're about to go out and do what they did last year. It's going to look pretty much the same, possibly even better once KP comes back. I think people overlook Jason Tatum for the MVP thing just based on the team, but every other year in history is the best player on the best team throughout the regular season really get it, outside of storylines, and He's going to be the best player on the best team with the best record. So I think it's going to be real credence to give him that shot at MVP. Like he done everything else but that. It might just be one of those. It's your time. Here, have it, and I'm okay with that because he's proven that he deserves to be, seen as that such as an MVP.
And my last thing on the Celtics, it just feels like I think since like the 2017, 2018 Warriors or the 2016, 2017 Warriors, this feels like the most inevitable team in a long time. Like since then, like it just feels like there's nothing in the league that can stop them. It's obviously not to that level because they don't have Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, but their team, I think, is deeper than that team, and it's a true 5-out offense, and they're just scary. I don't think any team. They're just a tier above any team in the NBA right now, and I want to make that comparison because that's how it feels like. And it's as an NBA fan, like it's obviously more parity than what it was in that time, but it's like I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm rooting for a team to beat them. I don't want them to repeat because I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't want. I'm praying on it, not praying on their downfall, but I just hope a team beats them. Like, be honest, let's get it done. Come on, we got to do something, bro. Like,
I'm of the belief that like teams don't really repeat unless you got that guy. Like I'm talking about like an all-time top 10, top 15 player all-time NBA history, and Boston does not have that. But it's like they got the roster outside of the top that top echelon guy to bridge the gap of not having like the top 10 all-time NBA player. So at this point, you got to put money on every other team but Boston.
They got the best 8 in the league, bro. Even Peyton Pritchard is a good NBA player. Like he probably be Anyways, let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas is going to command the take. He is. That's my takeaway. They're going to be very bad this year. I mean, we all know that. They're going to be at the top of the draft, but Cam Thomas, he probably going to average around 25 points this year because there's no one else to score on this team. The offense is putrid. It's very, very, very hard to watch. But he'll be commanding the tank and being one of the most important players on my fantasy team this year. That's exactly why I have him.
Yeah, he's in the spot where like they didn't sign him to that extension. Obviously, they got to see what he looks like, running the team. He's gonna put up a bunch of points. They're gonna lose a lot of games, and all season gonna get sticky because some team gonna probably try to offer him a big bag, and Brooklyn gonna be there whether they have to, they want to match it or not. I don't think they should because you about to get Cooper, but you know what I'm saying, like he's just gonna guard this, score a bunch of points. It's gonna look fun, and they're gonna lose fun. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with a player going out there and just getting buckets and getting some money.
All right, let's go to the Charlotte Hornets. My main takeaway from this Charlotte Hornets team is LaMelo. He's the one, bro. He's the one. He's a really, really good NBA player. Doesn't get enough credit for it because of all the off the court stuff with the Hornets, and it seems like an unserious franchise. They haven't been good. He's been injured, but if he stays healthy, he's going to be in all-star conversations. He's going to be in all NBA conversations. He is, I think, their franchise player. He's their franchise player if he can stay healthy. He's one of the best shooters in the entire NBA, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He's a sniper off the dribble, off the catch. His finishing is improving. Doesn't have the in-between game. Is not a great defender at all. But I think he can be one of the one or two best players on a really, really good team. They just have to like actually build around him because the team's still trash. Without Brandon Miller last night, he had to carry everything. Really good game, and that's why he had 10 turnovers because literally they had no other ball anywhere outside of what's his bro name? Trey Man.
Oh yeah. And that leads right into my takeaway. Trey Man, that's all he needed was opportunity. OKC did right by him, put him in a spot that he's gonna have opportunity. He's going out there and balling. He's showing that he belongs to the league, actually with real minutes. So I'm happy to see that he's finally like having a chance to like show what he could do.
Yeah, he's been amazing. He's been really good this our season, especially against that game against the
Rockets.
The Rockets. Yeah, he went crazy. His shot making, his ability to create separation was really good. All right, next team is the Chicago Bulls. You can start, Q. I already know what you're going to. You go ahead. I want to start every time.
Oh, my for the Bulls, one, Giddey's still a bad NBA player, and two,
he was good last night. He was good last night. He was good.
And two, Zach LaVine is still a dude, and by trade deadline he should be on a different team because he's just too good for this team, and they're not in the time frame of trying to win right now. But I don't think Zach LaVine should just waste his talents on this team because he's just too good when healthy.
I completely agree. Zach LaVine is one of the most underrated players in the NBA because of his contract. We talked about this to start the season. His contract, people were calling his contract the worst contract in basketball, and that's just not true at all. When he plays, he's close to a 50, 40, 90 player, can score in the pick and roll, can score in isolation, can get to the rim. I think he's a true 3-level scorer in this league, one of the best at doing that as well. He just needs to get to the right situation where his talent can be maximized. That's my takeaway as well for the Bulls. But they're going to be slightly competitive as long as Zach LaVine is on the team. He's that good where he can have them competitive in the East. And then also Lonzo coming back. So they're going to be a competitive team, a play-in-esque team until he gets traded. The Cleveland Cavaliers. My main takeaway for the Cleveland Cavaliers is, man, listen, Kenny Atkinson really invested in Evan Mobley this offseason. You can tell. He's taking more on-ball reps. He's shooting pull-up threes. Like, bro, when I saw that, I almost fell out of my chair. Mobley has clearly worked on this game. He's going to be the hub of this offense. His playmaking has got better. His finishing has got better. His shooting has got better. He's really improved. He's still one of the best defenders.
You seen that spin layup that he did?
Huh? Yeah, I did, bro. He's been really aggressive this year. I really love to see it. If this Cleveland team wants their ceiling to continue to rise, they need Evan Mobley to continue to be a self-creator, a hub, a better offensive player for this team to really, really improve. So that's my main takeaway. Evan Mobley been great to start the season.
Same. If Evan Mobley has to be the second best player on this Cleveland Cavaliers team, like he has to be. For them to do anything, he has to be the second best player. Like you said, he's shooting threes. He's doing things on his own right now. Obviously, he's still going to be an all-NBA level defender. Like, for this team to go anywhere, he has to be that guy. He got paid like it, and it's not like he didn't deserve it. Like, there's some things obviously need to work on, but as of right now, with this coaching situation that he got going on right now, it just looks like it's about to go up.
Yeah, Cavs look pretty good to start the year. I mean, unfortunately, I was just watching the game. I wasn't rooting for the team yesterday. D-Mitch was shot tucking though. DG, he looked all right. But yeah, Dallas Mavericks. Go ahead, Q. You start off with them.
My main takeaway is just based off one game. Obviously, first game, whatever. But Klay Thompson, just based on what they was running, first to second, first half and second half, it just looked like he seamlessly fit in. They kind of was doing that isolation pick and roll thing, but slowly later on they started doing a whole lot of movement things, certain back screens and things like that. Klay Thompson is still one of the best shooters in the league. On a down year, he was better than 95% of the league. He had like 5, 6 threes, like 20-something points. He's not going to be 20 points a game every night. Probably going to be somewhere around 18, but that's just enough and cause like enough spacing and enough like movement, things like that to throw any team off. Like on some nights, he could be your second best scorer. Sometimes if he gets super, super high, and we know he can, he might be the best scorer on the floor that night. And that's exactly what they needed. I went to bad about the Dallas Mavericks. I think their main issue last year was just shooting, and they got it in a premium right now.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on the same page. Klay Thompson was clearly an upgrade from Derrick Jones Jr. People act like Derrick Jones Jr. was the player that really put them over the top when that was more so PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. So when you add Klay Thompson in his speed, Klay Thompson is still a decent perimeter defender. He's not Derrick Jones Jr. on defense, but he's a much better shooter. They also got Najee Marshall, and their defense isn't really perimeter orientated anyways. They just funnel you to the paint. So it's like Derrick Jones Jr. was a really good player for the Mavericks. He's still a really good player in his league, but he's not Klay Thompson, and people shouldn't act like he was at all. That was egregious.
Yeah. Another thing, Derek Lively, which I kind of already knew, but he's a good connected passer. Like it allows you to really do some things with him out there. That pass he did to Najee Marshall for the layup was just crazy. Like I just jumped out my seat. I'm like, damn, I didn't know he was gonna make that read. And that when he was talking about how Wemby is like undisciplined, like as a defender, like he's still not there yet. Like it's clear like he's just not there yet. The block numbers like are doing his game like more than like what like the defense is actually doing. Like he's just a block machine. Outside of that, like the defense isn't really like there yet to me. So you kind of cook with that.
Let's go. Denver Nuggets. You can start, Q.
Yeah, the team looked slow, and they clearly look like they're missing something I don't want to go too crazy on him, but they got people out there saying Jamal Murray is easier to guard now and things like that. Uh, Obviously, I think it was a comment from Michael Porter Jr. that him and Julian Arthur got to shoot a whole bunch of threes. Obviously, they know what they're missing. They lacking a lot of 3-point shooting, a lot of just scoring outside of, or like playmaking outside of Jokic. It's just, I think it's going to be a tough season for them. Like, I don't want to take too much from that one game, but it looked like it's going to be rough.
This might be overreaction or ready to overreact. I don't care. Because I've been saying this all season. I didn't have them as contender. Jokic is going to be good enough to make this team a top 5 seed in the West easily. He's the best player in the world. In the regular season, he can do that. Come playoff time, they're not going to be good enough to compete for a championship. I'm sorry. They're not. Their bench is awful. It's awful. And also, when Jokic is not on the floor, they're just awful in general. And he can't play all 48 minutes. In the playoffs, he could play 40 minutes a game, but he's going to get tired. And we saw that last season. Their bench is just terrible. And I think they've done a bad job of building around Jokic in his prime. Like, the players are good, but the contracts are just like awful. MPJ's contract is awful. Jamal Murray's contract is awful. Aaron Gordon isn't that bad, but I just don't think he's worth that to the rest of the league. All of these players are relying on Jokic. They're all relying on him. They're really good pieces to have around Jokic, but in the grand scheme of the league, they're not that good. And losing KCP is going to hurt them really, really badly. They don't really like Christian Braun played well in the first game, but he can't shoot. He can't shoot, so that's hurting the spacing. Peyton Watson can't shoot, so that's hurting the spacing. Off the bench, Russ is garbage. Don't know why they thought that was going to be an upgrade over what they had on their bench. It actually probably made it worse because his decision making is terrible. And people will have tried to scapegoat the last 3 teams. Actually, that people said it was the Lakers, it was the Clippers. No, Russ is just not good. And we can finally admit that. Julian Strawther, I think, is going to be a good player. He's not ready yet. They could possibly improve over the course of the season, but their issues, I don't think, are going away. They don't have a rim protector. Their backup center situation is terrible. Their bench situation is terrible in general. So, yeah, the Nuggets are going to be losing in the first or second round this year. And yeah, that's an overreaction, maybe, but I truly believe that. I already believe that coming into the season.
I said the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't think they make it past the first or second round at all. Like, I really don't think they make it past the first. But that's hey, whatever.
All right, Detroit Pistons. Both fans of this team. Oh man, I don't know. There's a lot to say, honestly. First 2 games.
It's up and down. It's up and down. It's some
man.
good things, but it's a lot of bad things too.
I continue to think Cade Cunningham can be this team's franchise player. He's been really good scoring the ball this season. His shot making has been elite. The turnovers are still an issue. The finishing numbers are still an issue. But outside of Cade, I'm not really confident in anything on his roster at all. I'm not at all. Jaden Ivey has been good to start the year. Jalen Duren has been terrible. His defense is god-awful. He can't shoot. He can finish, and he can rebound really well. He has really good chemistry with Cade Cunningham in the pick and roll, but he might need to get moved by the deadline for an actual rim protector. Tobias Harris has been bad to start off. He making it look crazy. He needs to get it together immediately because he hasn't been good since the first half of the first game. The team really needs a backup point guard. Ron Holland is not ready to play the NBA basketball right now, even on the Pistons. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's a lot to say for this team. They just outside of K, I'm just not confident on anything of the roster. Like, everybody else can go. Asar is dealing with the blood clot thing, but he was here. I'll be confident in him because he's a really good defender. But that's my takeaways.
Yeah, Cade is Cade. He's doing it. Clearly, he's got better at certain other things that he still has to work on. Clearly, but he's putting on a clinic out there with not a lot of help. Main takeaways is definitely got to move on Durham because it's his 3rd year. Do not tie yourself to him. Don't try to give him no type of money, nothing. He does not need to be on this team past this year. Jaden Ivey is still up in the air, but I'm leading that same way for him also. But that's just based off like style of play and fit and things like that. But Cade is the Lone Ranger. He's probably going to be All-Star this year, and that's what I'm here for. I'm going to be watching that every single night.
Yeah, won't miss a game, unfortunately. All right, Golden State Warriors. I I think the
Shout
Golden
out.
State Warriors. Yeah, Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield has fit in seamlessly to this team. He's really looked like he learned the system really quick. He's a replacement for Klay Thompson. He's been lights out to start the season. I think he had like 30 fantasy points, but he's on my bench yesterday, and I couldn't move him after the game started, so I was mad. But yeah, he's fit in seamlessly. I think this team is a little bit better than last year, especially because of their depth. But yeah, the Warriors are going to be a competitive team this year. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, the addition that the Kuminga situation is a little weird, but like you said, Buddy Hield comes in. He's not Klay, but he's doing his best to look like Klay. He's like averaging like 25 right now, damn near. It's just my takeaway is it's the Warriors, and it's crazy to think, but this Warriors is just some afterthought team. This feisty might get into the playoffs, might not, just hovering around in the back and like in the background, like with Steph Curry on the roster, who also hasn't started started off great to start the season. So that's just my takeaway is that the Warriors are just a middling team.
All right, the Houston Rockets. Before the season, they extended Jalen Green and Şengün. I think what they are they 1-1?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. No, they're 1-1.
They beat the Grizzlies last night, and the first night they lost to the Charlotte Hornets. You got any takeaways from the Rockets? I watched both games, but
it looked like a lot of the same things from last year. I don't think nothing has changed. Jalen Green's still on the same nonsense. It's pretty much like they stayed the same to me. Like nothing has changed from the couple of quarters that I watched from both games.
Yeah, I mean Jalen Green has some moments where he looked really good. His three point value right now is really, really high. He probably needs to bring that down, get to the basket more. Şengün has looked shaky. In that second half against the Hornets, he was really bad. He got benched down the stretch of that game and he played like last 2-3 minutes of the game. Against the Grizzlies, the offense. I gotta take away the offense is really bad. It's still really bad. It's like it is. I think they were like 0.09 points per possession. They shot 38% from the field, and they still blew out the Grizzlies because their defense is really good, even though Şengün isn't a great rim protector. But yeah, the offense still really bad because Şengün is a good offensive player, but Jalen Green still has a ways to go, in my opinion. I think he could be moved at some point, either at the deadline or the end of the season. Still not proven.
They set up his contract like that because it can be traded because it might not. It's just I don't. It's hard to like. I still don't know. Like I know the direction of this team, but I don't know how long they could keep, going along with this. Like at this point, you already paid one guy, so at this point, once you pay a guy, you're supposed to be trying to do some things. I just don't see what they're doing right now, unless they're gonna make a big splash. But I don't know what that splash is.
Let's move on to the Indiana Pacers. What are the takeaways for them through the first game? I just know you got something to
say. Halliburton is garbage. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's just like it was cool before, like because the November runs and whatever. But he don't even got that right now. Like he don't even got the start of season runs. Like he's just not a good player right now. I'm not gonna say it's gonna last, but you can't afford based off them moving on their assets for Pascal and them paying a bunch like the players that they paid because they paid Pascal, they paid them hard. Obviously Tyrese got paid. Miles Turner's up for extension. I don't think you could lose him. Like you just paid TJ McConnell. I'm not saying you locked in, but you think you can really compete with this roster and at this like based on what we've seen, this roster isn't it right now.
No, Tyrese has really been struggling. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna continue, so I don't know if I can even say as a takeaway. I don't think he's gonna be like his last year self, and I think Tyrese Halliburton was, I think, really, really overrated over a month of basketball. Where he was really dominant in that stretch, but he got hurt, grade 1 hamstring, and then people started to blame the rest of his struggles for the entire year on that hamstring injury.
And I think trying to blame it on that.
Yeah, they still trying to blame it. I think the truth of the matter is that Tyrese Halliburton, at this point, his scoring is very, very inconsistent right now. And I think that's who he is right now because he doesn't have a dynamic handle. He is a really good shooter. He isn't the best with his left hand or nothing like that. He can get to the basket, but he's not the greatest finisher, nothing like that. He's a really good player. Tyrese Halliburton is, but I think his scoring still has a way to go. I think he's still a limited scorer in what he can do on the court, and I think people haven't admitted that about his game. He's still gonna probably give you like 20 and 10 this year. I would say.
Yeah, I fully expect him to average about 20 and 10, 21 and 11, things like that. Just until he can learn like the self creation part of his game, until he can learn how to like truly go get a bucket. And I'm not saying like isolation scoring is like the end all be all and things like that, but it's certain things that you got to be able to do to like even get yourself into a rhythm when you're out of things like that. And he doesn't seem to have a go to move outside of a hezzy pull up or a hezzy side step pull, like, and if that ain't working, I don't know what else he could do.
All right, moving on to the Los Angeles Clippers. My takeaway from them is their defense is going to be really good this season because of the pieces they have: Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., and a bunch. But James Harden is just not going to be able to carry them to actual to wins. I think they can beat some of the bottom tier teams in the league. But at this point in James Harden's career, I think he's still really good, still a top 35 to 40 player in the NBA. But when you ask him to be the number one option on a night-to-night basis, this late in his career, I don't think he can do it. He had flashes in their game against the Suns where he looked really good, but overall his performance, especially in that overtime quarter, wasn't great at all. And he's just not going to be good enough to actually get them consistent wins. And so they're going to need Kawhi really, really badly. I don't know what they got going on over there. He might not play this year based on that lawsuit they got going on. So we're going to see. They say he's going to be out several weeks, but it's like, depending on how that lawsuit go, I don't even know if I'll play again because they really miss. It might be news to Kawhi that they mismanaged him. He's supposed to be out for 730 days, and then they rushed him back. So we got to see about what that's going on.
Yeah, based on I was listening to this, I forgot, I think Tim Bontemps, he was saying it sounds to the people in the Clippers building that there's no time soon Kawhi's going to be back. And like you said, with the lawsuit, he might not really ever come back because if he missed out on a year and some change of actual recovery time, at this point, you got to add more to whatever he's already dealing with. Like, you just backtrack them more. So it's kind of like you damn near ruin the end of his career. Or if he decides to retire, I don't think he will, or I'm not saying he should, but yeah, this team is not really going to go anywhere without him. James Harden is going to still put up numbers because he can still, get a bucket. He's still one of the best playmakers in the league, one of the best passers and things like that. But he's just not enough with the Chris Dunns and Derrick Jones Jr.'s and things like that to even do anything in the Pac West.
We got the Los Angeles Lakers. I think people need to accept that this team is just really good. They're really good. Darvin Ham really held the team back. I can't say that enough. For the beginning of the year last year, they were dealing with injuries, and his lineups were terrible. He finally puts Austin Reeves, D'Lo, Rui, AD, LeBron together. They go 24 and 10 to end the year last year. They win the first two games of this season. Their offense has been amazing in that time. That's a damn near 60-win pace. And then they get JJ Redick, who looks like to be a really, really good offensive mind. Their offense looks much better, much more structured, much more movement. They're playing through Anthony Davis. He's touching the ball damn near every time down. The takeaway from this first two games is they're just a really, really good team. They are. They're one of the better teams in the Western Conference because their offense is damn near elite. And Anthony Davis, if he keeps this up, is going to be a contender for most valuable player because he's going to be clearly the best player on this team this season. That's my takeaway from them this so far.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. LeBron, he just came out and said they're trying to play through AD. It was a point, I don't know if it was last game or the game before, but he touched the ball nine straight possessions. Like the next two possessions, he didn't touch the ball. I almost got upset. But it's like, I just watched him get the ball 9 straight times. But it's like, that's exactly what they needed to be doing. I think too much would be said of the Lakers being in the play. Oh, the LeBron and AD were healthy last year, but they only won such and such games. You hit it on the head with the lineup things. Obviously, bad lines will create a lot of like confusion and things, especially like down the stretch of games, which would cause you to lose games, especially by the margins. And if the lineups were right, this is how much game they won last year, like 47.
Mm-hmm.
That 47 could have easily been like 53, 54. And we're talking about a top 4 seed, just tweaking a lineup. And now you got more movement and things like that. Obviously, the JJ thing is not a finished product. Like you still it takes go through the season. Things gonna be ups and downs, but just based off the talent that they have, and you got LeBron and AD out there, they should command enough to like win way more games than they lose. And it's just the start. They had 2 good wins. I think they can ride this for the rest of the season.
Also, I think they need to make a trade for a point of attack defender. Their defense is not great. To be honest, they did clamp last night against the Suns. Suns coming out. I think it was more so about the Suns though. To be honest, because Beal and D-Book just were. I mean, they get credit for that, but Beal and D-Book were terrible in the second half. And we'll talk about the Suns later though. Memphis Grizzlies, they're 1-1. I thought they were going to beat the Rockets last night. They were commanding the game for a bit of it. They obviously beat I think Utah Jazz in their first game back. Take away from the Grizzlies. I mean, it's not much take away right now because Jaren Jackson Jr. is out. He's obviously going to bolster that defense a lot. Zach Edey has looked okay for a rookie. Fouled out in his first game, and last night he looked okay. He got killed in drop coverage. Was getting killed in drop coverage. But yeah, once they get healthy, I think they're gonna be one of the better teams in the league. And once because they still missing J.J. Jackson, Jaren Jackson Jr. Those are 2 big pieces for this team. But Ja Morant is Ja Morant. He's back. He struggled a little bit last night, but in his first game, he was great. So Ja Morant keep this up, and they get healthy, they're gonna be one of the better teams in the West. And I think we said that coming into the season in the West.
Yeah, this is the second time Ja came back off injury or whatever, and he ends the game with a game winner. Like you said, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not here. I think he's gonna be missed. Only thing I take away is one of the issues or skeptical things I had about Zach Edey showed his face the first 2 games. I just don't know how quick he's gonna be able to adjust to the speed of the game, especially at this level when games actually matter. It's gonna take some while, take a while to get right, but hopefully like through the season, like probably towards mid to late season, like he gets better. It's like he's more and more comfortable. But that's it. Like I just waiting on him to really adjust to the game. I'm not really worried about anything else because they still not a full squad yet.
Miami Heat, Q, go ahead.
This team is old. They don't have no real bucket getters. Bam is struggling. Jimmy's struggling. Terry Rozier ain't it. Tyler Hero look weird. I already got my skepticism on Miami, but it's like it just doesn't look well when especially after halftime of the Orlando Magic game, things were looking okay, and then they came out the half and just blew you out the water. It just shows that you ain't got the legs for this, especially through an 82-game season. And we know this is a playoff, like a postseason team that doesn't really take the regular season serious. Well, maybe that's just a Jimmy thing, but they can't afford in this East when there's a bunch of young teams, young legs, people that's willing to go up and down the court. They can't afford to just be stagnant, be slouchy, and things like that.
Their offense is putrid. That's my takeaway. It's really, really bad. It's been bad for a few seasons now because the spacing isn't great. They were trying to run a 5-out offense in game 1. I don't know what that was about. Trying to get Bam the ball, let him facilitate. It was put him in a corner on some plays. Don't know what that was about. They really need a point guard. It's just all bad. Miami Heat should have probably blew it up after last season. I don't think a contender. They had a few runs where they lightning and bottle runs, but the Heat aren't contenders, and they probably should hit the reset button sometime soon. And it's sad because Bam is really coming into his own. And I don't know, maybe they're not gonna hit reset. They're gonna probably hit a retool type of thing.
That's a retool. Bam 28.
Yeah, you can't really, unless you trade him away, you can't really just hit the reset button. Milwaukee Bucks 1-1. A surprising loss last night to the the Bulls. Damian Giannis looked really good in the win against the Sixers without Joel Embiid. Paul George kind of struggled a little bit last night. I know Giannis had 35 or something like that. But he's missing a lot of free throws. The defense was terrible. If this team wants to get better, they have to find a way to upgrade on the perimeter as far as the defense, to be honest. They didn't have Chris Middleton, which is it matters as well, but still shouldn't be losing to the Bulls. But again, I think this team is going to be great offensively, really, really good offensively. But defensively, they in the playoffs, come playoff time, they don't have enough defense on the perimeter to comfortably pick them to make the conference finals or finals appearance for me right now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You can't constantly put Brook Lopez and Giannis in a situation where they have to clean up every single mess, every single penetration because one, Brook is old and he can't always do that. I know he led the league in contested shot like 2 years in a row because he's out there, but as age comes, a lot of things tend to change. And Giannis, he still got the legs to do it, but you also need him on the offensive end, especially while Chris Middleton is out. You still can't play drop coverage against Dame. But on the offensive end, if Giannis is gonna have to, he's either gonna have to allow Dame to run for right now, just let Dame go crazy and he focus strictly on defense, or they're gonna have to go straight offense. Like this, it's only two ways they're gonna have to try to win these games. They can't really blend it fully together right now based on the pieces that they got.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are our next team, and I think the takeaway from the first two games, they're gonna have to take time to gel. They just made a really big trade with a player who was their franchise player for about 10 years or so. So getting acclimated to not having him in the building and having Julius Randle, who needs the ball in his hands to be really effective. Him and Ant are still getting that connection together. I think they both had 30 in their first. They both had 30 in the second game. The offense has a way to go. They really do. Because Julius Randle is someone that needs time to acclimate into your roster. And so my biggest takeaway from the Minnesota Timberwolves is don't panic. Y'all just need time to gel.
Yeah, same. Just need time, and time is everything. Especially at the moment that the two players like Julius Randle and Cat got traded. It was pretty deep, way past into training camp. We basically talking about preseason, along with Randle coming off of a significant injury, also needing the ball in his hands, things like that. You see when he gets the ball and he's rolling and he's on, it could look decent. I mean, based off box score numbers, he still technically was a negative when he was on the court, but they still need his 30 points regardless. And he's been saying he's working on his catch and shoot threes and things like that. What he didn't say he was working on playmaking because obviously that's still a major deficit in this game. But I think, like I said last year, they could go win a bunch of regular season games just off talent that they got, and that's probably what's going to happen this year anyway.
Okay. Next team is New Orleans Pelicans. My main takeaway is that Yves Missi has looked pretty good for a rookie in his first couple games. Has really been good protecting the rim. Got a few blocks. He might need to be a full-time center at some point in the season if he continues to develop. Because I'm just not sold on Herb Jones or Zion being the rim protector for this team. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Or Daniel Tice.
Yeah.
That's really it. They need a center. They took a blow losing Deontay for basically out till damn near Christmas. Zion, he ain't looked the greatest last night. Looked better late. He came on late. They relied a lot on Brandon Ingram. They still need a lot more spacing. Brandon Ingram, he did have 4 threes last night. CJ he pretty much picked it up from where he was last year. But it just seems like this team is missing something outside of center. I just don't know what it is. Maybe it's real playmaking. I don't know. But they probably going to have to move off. They should move off Brandon Ingram real soon. But they probably going to need him until at least DeJounte Murray come back.
Okay. The New York Knicks, same thing more so as the Timberwolves. It's going to take time to gel. You just, trade it for Cat. You got Mikal Bridges, so you still got to integrate into the lineup and stuff like that. Definitely a better showing. Killed the Pacers. Cat looked good. Brunson looked good. It was some rivalry there. My thing is for the Knicks, it's just going to take time to gel, and you need to get healthy as well with Precious and Mitch. You got to see what you're going to do about that bench because McBride has been playing really well, but outside of that, there's really nothing else on that bench. And you got to figure out a way to have Cat as the rim protector because having him in drop coverage is not going to do it. Probably just bring him to the level of screen and, try to do that. And then, have some backside help as well, rotate, that type of stuff. But, yeah, same thing as the Timberwolves. It's going to take time. Don't panic after getting blew out by the Celtics, the best team in the league. Those matchups over the course of the season and probably in the playoffs will be better, much closer when you have, chemistry. That team has chemistry. That's why they blew you out so much. It's obviously a talent thing, but they have chemistry. And chemistry is an underrated thing in the NBA. And so when they get that, I think the Knicks going to be much better.
Yeah. My takeaway is I think this team as of right now, until they figure out this Cat drop coverage thing, rim protector whatnot, they need to probably have to basically be a top 10 offense until they figure out what to do on defense because that's the only way they're probably going to be able to win games consistently as of right now. In theory, Cat and Jalen Brunson should be a great tandem, pick and roll and things like that because of Cat's ability to shoot and things. Jalen Brown's ability to drive and penetrate. But the defensive end is going to be a lot to be desired, especially when you play good teams that know how to, get a bucket. You saw pretty much how that looked against the Celtics, especially with Cat out there in spacing. I think they just need to, go all in on offense. I know that's against like Tibbs coaching and things like that, but that's probably how they're going to have to win these games from now on.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are our next team. The Thunder are as good as advertised. They really are. They just beat the not the defending champions, but they just beat the Nuggets without Isaiah Hartenstein. Chet looks amazing. Two-way dominance in that game. Really did a good job against Jokic. In their one-on-one matchups, he held them to 1-5. Man, the whole thing was that Chet can't guard post bigs, and I know he really can't, but to see him, play good defense against the best player in the world was really encouraging. I think the Thunder, for me, are going to go to the finals. I've said that before the season started. Their one game against the Nuggets did nothing to dissuade me from that thought process. They have one of the best rosters in the NBA, some of the best depth in the NBA, with Shea leading the way, Chet with his two-way dominance. They're going to be a great team. They're going to be on this. They're going to be in contention to win 60 games, make the finals. That's my takeaway from them. They probably can match up well against like most of the teams in the NBA because they have Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet, and they have Caruso, and they have Dort, and they have Kaysen. Off the bench, they have Aaron Wiggins. They're a really deep team. They're really well coached, and they're going to be a contender to win to make the finals and possibly win it. I don't know.
I agree with most of the things you said. My big takeaway is Chet looked like the best player on the floor during that game, especially this year, a year when there's a lot of expectations placed on his team, a lot of expectations placed on him and J-Dub to be better this year because that's their path to actually doing damage. Chet's off to a great start. I think if he keeps playing like this, because he's not going to see Jokic every game, but so that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. It should make the game easier because you don't have to see Jokic all the time. It should probably just come in a flow. He looked real confident outside of those 2 air balls. I think he probably might be threatening for an all-star spot real soon.
All right. Next team is the Orlando Magic. I believe they are 2-0.
Yep.
Go ahead, Q.
My big takeaway is Franz looks a lot more comfortable taking the threes. Through the first 2 games, about 40-something%, like 42, 43%. This team is young, and they showed that against Miami, but in a good way. And then against the Nets, I didn't really take too much because the Nets, but the tandem of Franz and Palos should be enough to get you into like a top 6, top 5 seed lock just based on what they got going on. They still need some help in the scoring department, like just overall scoring and playmaking department, but the defense is still as good as advertised.
All right. Oh, my takeaway for the Magic, I mean, I think that the defense is obviously elite. They're going to be able to lock down most teams in the entire NBA. I still think their offense has a ways to go. Paolo had a good game against the Heat. Next game, he struggled against the Nets. Want to see him, continue to take advantage of mismatches. That's really been their entire offense. Get a switch, take advantage of mismatch, let Franz or Paolo go to the rim. They need a little bit more creativity, I think, in their offense, and that'll come with either better personnel or a different coach. But I think Mosley's a great coach. I'm not saying they should fire him or nothing like that, but they do need to be better offensively. The 76ers. Can you want to go or what? What's up?
You go. I can't.
I mean, it's obvious takeaway. Without Joel Embiid, and especially without Paul George, this team is a lottery team. It's a lottery team. It's one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. Love Tyrese Maxey, but he can't be a number 1 option on a team that's going to be competitive at all. He doesn't do well when all the attention on him. When Joel Embiid was out last year, he really struggled. Without him, his efficiency dipped a lot. They need to get healthy badly. Joel Embiid and Paul George need to get on the floor. I know Paul George hyperextended his knee. I don't know if they're doing a load managing thing with Joel Embiid, but both of them need to get back on the floor immediately for this team to actually be serious. If they do this, no back-to-back things, they're not going to be that high of a seeding. And then come playoff time, they're going to be losing in the first or second round. I think seeding is important in NBA, contrary to some people's belief. And if they don't have a high seed because their players don't want to play back to back, they're going to be going home very soon.
Yeah, they just got to get on the court. That's my take. Like they need Joel Embiid like bad. Like even if Paul George, I don't think like he's a very good player. I think one of the best players in the league, obviously, but they need a top 5 player in the league for this team. That's like not great 5 through 12 to really even be anything important in the East.
Yep, I agree. Phoenix Suns, what's your takeaways from them? Because their offense looked great. Oh my god, it looked great against the Lakers. I was scared. They went up 20. I think their offense will be fine. My main takeaway for the Suns is they're not going to be a super serious team until they move off of Yusuf Nurkic because he's a terrible rim protector. He's a good connected passer, but he really can't stretch the floor that well. He can't really create offense for himself that well, and he can't defend the rim at all. He's a cone in space. He's just not a good NBA center. He needs to be off the team if they want to actually compete. And they have enough offense, so I think what they should do is move Grayson Allen along with Yusuf Nurkic because he has real value to a different team for a better center.
Same thing. I said this, and I think the Western Conference preview, but they're a center away from really being a sneaky team in the West. Same thing. Grayson Allen for the money. Got to move off him. I said Mitch once they get healthy, but there's other options out there. They just need to be competent at center, like some type of rim protection and some rebounding. And I think this team could be a lot better. Kevin Durant picked up where he left off basically last regular season. First game, Bradley Beal was okay. Devin Booker, I think, ended up fouling out. End of this game, second half of this game, they both weren't that good. Kevin Durant was just out there doing what he does. And whether it was stat padding, he was just being himself, scoring the ball. They will get better down the line, but they won't be obviously they won't be real true contenders or looked at that way until they get better in the front court.
Yeah, they last night they had Kevin Durant playing center against AD and LeBron. I'm like, I don't know what that was about. That's Nurkic is so bad. His on off numbers were crazy. I think I have a picture of it. No, that's D'Lo. The net rating with Yusuf Nurkic on the court last night was negative 46.3. With them off, they were plus 26.8. So it was a drastic swing with him off the court and on. It was really bad. He was terrible last night. And I think they had the offensive firepower to be a really, really dangerous team in the West because of what they have if they upgrade for him. They also got Ryan Dunn, who was impressed his first few games. Also has looked good. Really smart player who can defend and pass and that type of stuff. So they kind of look like they hit on 2 rookies as well. So
yeah.
Portland TrailBlazers is the next team up. I don't even know what to say about the team. Jeremy Grant is wasting away on the Portland TrailBlazers. He's a really, really good NBA player. Unfortunately, his contract he's really overpaid. So I don't know if a team's going to be able to trade for him. A good enough team. I don't know if a good team is going to be able to trade for him because of his contract, where it makes sense for him to contribute to actual winning. But he's better than what he's better. He shouldn't be on the Blazers because he's too good to be on the Blazers. But his contract is too much where a real contender can't trade for him. To be honest,
It's like 3 players on that team that are fit the same mold. Maybe not getting as paid. Obviously, like with Thibault, he's not getting paid what Jamie Grant's getting paid. But between him, Simons, and Thibault, they should not be on this Portland Trailblazers team. They're just too good of a players, and that's the problem when you when these teams they pay a player what they're allowed to get and not what they're worth, because then that gets construed because now their worth gets taken, gets dropped drastically than what they actually is because of the money attached to them. And that's the same thing that happened to Jeremy Grant. That's Dame's fault for getting him that bread and then sliding, but that's another story for another day. A team need to figure out how to get Jeremy Grant, Simons, and Thibault off their team because they can drastically impact the next team like that they're potentially going to be on.
Next team up is the Sacramento Kings, and like the Knicks and like the Timberwolves, I think they just need time to gel. They just added, DeMar DeRozan to this offense, and I think he's an upgrade over Harrison Barnes. But they do need time for it to gel. It got a little bit stagnant last night. They did score 115 points. Also, the defense is just still gonna be bad. I know Keon Ellis is a good perimeter defender. Keegan Murray was their point of attack defender last year for stretches, but their interior defense is still terrible, and I think that's really going to hold them back this season. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, same. They just lack the actual NBA defenders to be a very good team or actually cause any type of damage. But they don't have no real avenues of getting better defensively, from like a personnel standpoint. So they're going to be stuck with trying to outscore teams, and Sabonis ain't going to be able to go 3 or 4 from 3 every night. So it's going to look a lot clunky. If they could keep it a close game, coming into the fourth quarter down the stretch, they got 2 of the best, clutch players in the league. Technically, so that's probably what they're gonna have to try and hang their hand up on.
San Antonio Spurs are the next team. They only played, I think, one game against the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know. I think Stephon Castle looked good for stretches when he came into the game. I don't know what to say for them. They're not gonna be very good, but I don't want to harp on defense. But I mean,
we can tell the truth. Wemby's not there yet. That's just what it is.
Offensively, he's not there at all. He's still very, very raw offensively. That's my takeaway. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like he's just not there yet. For him to be your best player, he needs a lot more. He needs to get better.
Wemby is still very, very young and still very, very raw offensively. I honestly think he's taken a little bit of the wrong route as far as what he want to do as a player. He's trying to be like a stretch big, Kevin Durant, when he should be. Bro, Wemby has the potential to be one of the best play finishers in NBA history.
I knew you were gonna do this.
Like if he could just set screens, roll, lobs, putbacks, post ups, he could be one of the he can still be one of the best players ever, but he can be one of the best play finishers ever. And his offensive ceiling personally will go up so much if he just leaned into that play finisher role instead of trying to be KD. He should try to be AD because that route for him is much easier for him to be a high level offensive player because he's 7'4" with his fluidity and his size. He could just be one of the best play finishers ever. And it would be much better for the Spurs, I think, if he was a play finisher instead of trying to be a primarily jump shooter who takes advantage of mismatches on the perimeter. I don't know.
Yes, the things that he does, they get the wows, the step back threes, things like that. That's supposed to be like that's supposed to be the cake, the dessert, the break glass in case of emergency type situation. Like sort of how like the Nuggets, they go to the Jokic, Jamal Murray 2-man game. They don't run that throughout the game. They run that in like short stints when they need a bucket, crunch time, things like that. But other than that, they have like a real like free flowing offense. The Spurs need to do kind of the same thing in terms of like get Wemby easy bucket, straight pick and roll, drop it down when he got a mismatch, things like that. Allow him to get his buckets at the rim. He doesn't take enough shots at the rim, and then those perimeter shots, and that's supposed to be just extra. Don't make that the whole diet of your offense because it's not going to look good.
No, his shot diet is terrible. It is, and it's been terrible for a while now. And he gets away with it because last year he hit that hot streak where he was really knocking down his shots. But even then, I don't think it was that efficient at all. He's not that efficient as a jump shooter.
You can't be 7'4" and be going 5 or 18, and of those 18, like 12 of your shots are like shots like outside of the paint. Like it just shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, they gotta embrace him being a play finisher. And then on top of that, just being like, because he can be better than AD if he is a play finisher, better than AD is, and then he has a jump shot as a kind of like Jokic, where like Jokic is a good 3-point shooter, but it's on like 5 attempts a game, like or something like that, or lower. It's 5 attempts a game in the playoffs. In the regular season, it's like 2 or 3. Like take them when they open. Like, yeah, I don't know. He be taking step back threes and shit. Like he's trying to be a unicorn too much, bro. Just be like, bro, you are a unicorn. I don't know how to explain it. But Toronto Raptors are the next team. This roster is terrible. It's really, really bad. I know they're injured, but it's been really hard to watch. They did beat the Sixers last night without Joel Embiid and Paul George. But I don't know. Jamal Shead looked pretty good. Scotty looked pretty good last night. But the roster is bad. Even though it's hurt, but it's bad. It's bad. They're gonna be one of the worst teams in the league this year. I think.
Yeah, that's just it. They're gonna get a top 5 pick next year, and
Mhm.
That's it. They're just looking towards next year. Jacopo said at the press conference, they're
You know,
not going out. No,
yeah,
they ain't go for no ring or nothing like that. This is straight a developmental year. And I'm fine with them taking that route. I mean, it's not like they said they're tanking, but they basically said, listen, we know we can't win nothing. We just go out we're going out there trying to be better, and that's all you could really do. Wait till next year, get an influx of like some high level talent, and see what you got from there.
All right, Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen is wasting away. Lauri Markkanen is wasting away on his team. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He's a really, really good offensive weapon. Really versatile offensive weapon and defensive player as well. Can come off pin downs, can go in the post, can operate in the pick and roll as a ball handler and the screen man. Really versatile offensive player. So he needs to get to a better team if he wants to be serious. Maybe he found a home in Utah, but I don't really think he fits their timeline, and I just think he deserves better as far as him as a player, because Utah has a great head coach and a lot of assets and a lot of young players, but I don't think he fits the timeline. So yeah, that's my take on there.
Yeah, same thing. My take is Danny Ainge is kind of a fool, or he's just too greedy. It's like they're in that. It's like kind of like Portland. They just got a bunch of talent that like they got too many. They got too many guards. They got too many forwards. They got too many like bigs. They got Lowry, who's like 28, who's all star, but he can't get moved until next summer because y'all didn't want to take the packages that were given. Y'all could have got him on a better team. Y'all could have got a whole bunch of other picks because y'all want picks. Y'all could have got young players from there. They just I don't know. They just took another year into of just top 10 pick purgatory. Is just and they don't have enough. You know, time. They don't have like enough time before they even a game to even like put all the talent on the court at any time to see what they really got. They're just wasting time right now. I think they kind of screwed up the Lowry thing. Uh, Same thing with like Jordan Clarkson, John Collins. They got to try to move off them to make more space to play their other young players that they already done picked up. I think it's
They're
just
gonna
so
get a haul. They're
no.
gonna get a haul for Laurie though. They probably are because of how good he is.
Yeah, and he was on a contract for like basically be on a contract for the next 4 years locked up. So yeah.
All right, Washington Wizards are our last team we're going to talk about today. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. They got
Saw looked good for 3 minutes for the first 3 minutes of the game, and then it was nothing. Jordan Poole went crazy. Then it was nothing.
Yeah, Jordan Poole did play well. I think my takeaway is that Sar and Bilal are going to be a really, really good defensive duo going forward. At least you can say that. That's my takeaway.
And I'll tell you, Flag, Bilal, and Sar is going to be a
Yeah.
great defensive tandem in a year because they got that front court set. If they get Flag and just plug them right in there, they're definitely going to have a great defense. Offense and overall team is just a whole different story.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. But Corey Kispert is also a really good NBA player too. They just sign him too. They sign him to extension as well, a rookie extension. But that's our takeaway from every NBA team after the first 1 or 2 games. Call it open we whatever you want to. Going to be back very soon with more content. Been slacking off a little bit, but NFL content, NBA content coming soon as the season progresses. We're gonna have a new episode coming out very, very soon. But thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, and follow our social medias at the top of the screen. We always thank y'all for the support, and we are out.